One of the biggest questions I get from players is what do they need to change to start ranking up? Of course, everyone's different, but for the most part, I see a lot of the same issues with players in similar ranks. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys one game-changing tip for every rank that you can implement to help you climb out of the rank you're stuck in. It's a long battle to the top for most, so be sure to listen to all the tips as you're going to need them. Luckily, there are shortcuts you can take if you're looking to rank up. There's no reason you should be playing the game on hard mode when there's actually a super easy way you can reach Immortal. No, we're not talking about cheating, but when you check out SkillCapped, you might start to feel like it's a bit unfair. Our Radiant coaches with 20,000 hours of playtime combined will teach you everything they know about how to rank up. It's basically like time traveling. Rather than having to spend all the time we spent learning from your mistakes, you'll have an expert teaching you every mistake you'll ever make, so that you can enjoy the time you spend on the game. Imagine the glory as all of your silver friends see you hit Immortal. You'll be a legend, and we want to help you become one. Be sure to check out SkillCapped. We'll see you there. Starting from the bottom, we've got Iron players. Iron is a strange place where nothing really makes sense. It's very chaotic, and your teammates are extremely unreliable to say the least. But it's also the easiest rank to climb out of if you know what you're doing. The biggest issue with Iron players is that they aren't comfortable with the mechanics of the game yet. Good crosshair placement is non-existent, and a lot of players still move while they shoot. I've also noticed that Iron players tend to look like they're scared when playing Valorant, shooting as soon as they see an enemy, missing their shots, and often ADSing while doing it. For Iron players, it's important to work on these mechanics. A lot of the stuff I've mentioned can be fixed just by being aware of the mistakes you're making. My tip is that while playing your games, you should be focusing on where your crosshair is as often as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, but every time you think about your crosshair, just make sure that it's aimed at about head level. There are a ton of landmarks across all of the maps made to help you out with knowing where head level is. All of the Radianite boxes and a ton of lines around the various maps are placed at head level to help you with your crosshair placement. So while playing, make sure you're paying attention to these landmarks and use them to fix your crosshair placement as often as possible, and you'll be in bronze in no time. Moving on to bronze, the game gets harder, but not much harder. This is an elo where learning how to use your utility can give you a huge advantage. To get to silver, you need to know the basics of how utility works and how you can use it to get an advantage. My best advice for this is to choose agents that have very simple kits so that you can take full advantage of them. This means lock in Raze or Reyna instead of Yoru or Neon. This means pick sentinels like Killjoy or Sage over an agent like Cypher. This will allow you to still focus on other things like your crosshair placement so that you're able to hit more of your shots, since it takes a lot of mental load off not having to think about how to use your abilities. These agents all provide easy value that you can get no matter what rank you're in, which makes them great picks when you're trying to rank up into silver. Now that you're in silver, you'll start to notice the players around you are starting to get better. In this rank, you can still get away with a lot, but you'll definitely start to get punished for your mistakes more. This is an elo where it's important to learn how to clear angles properly. In silver, players are far more likely to hit their shots than in the previous ranks, so it's important to take the time and learn how to slice the pie. You've probably heard this term before, but in case you haven't, slicing the pie just refers to the act of clearing angles one at a time, where you incrementally peek only one slice as you clear a sight, ensuring that you aren't exposed to multiple angles at once. This guarantees that your crosshair is in the right spot when you peek an enemy, making it more likely that you'll hit that shot. My advice is to learn how to slice the pie by practicing in a deathmatch. To do this, you'll slowly clear common angles that you expect enemies to be holding. And if you start doing this in your games, you'll find that you're able to get more kills throughout your matches. Make this a habit, and you'll eventually find yourself in gold. Once in gold, the players get even better than they were in silver. At this point, players will often clear the most common angles, and their crosshair placement is usually good enough to hit headshots semi-consistently. My one game-changing tip to help you get out of gold is to start taking advantage of off angles. Off angles are positions that aren't standard or expected spots to play that can give you an advantage in a gunfight. These angles aren't very common, so players don't usually clear them. This means that playing in these off angles can get you a ton of free kills. I could talk forever about different off angle spots in Valorant, but if I did, then this video would run too long. My advice is to experiment with the concept and see what angles you find make it easy for you to get kills, then try to take advantage of those off angles often. Next on the list is Platinum, and this is a rank where a lot of players get stuck. At this point, a lot of players understand concepts I've talked about already and are pretty good at them. Platinum players hit headshots consistently, they usually understand how to use their util, and they know how to take advantage of off angles. So if you want to climb out of this rank, you're going to need to do something to differentiate yourself? Well, one thing you'd be surprised that a lot of people don't do is track things like enemy economy and ultimates. So my advice to you is to start every round by pressing tab, see how much money the enemy team has, which ults are already online, and which ults are coming up soon, and then I want you to communicate this information to your teammates every single round. Now you and your team are more aware and can play around that information. If the enemy team is on an eco, your team knows not to get too aggressive on defense or to be aware of enemies playing cheese angles. Calling that Brim has ult on bind could save a teammate that decides to play in U-Haul, which is a very common location for Brimstone to ult. If you know the enemy Sage has res available, you can now be ready to hold the body after you get a kill. These things add up, and simply communicating this free information you get on the scoreboard will not only improve how you play, but will also allow your teammates to play better and prevent losing easily winnable rounds. Now that you're out of Platinum, the question is, where do you go from here? Your crosshair placement is on point, you're taking advantage of off angles, and you're even communicating well. So what's there left to do? Around Diamond is where games start to get really hard to carry for most players. If you've been steadily climbing, Diamond can feel impossible to escape at times. This is the rank you need to start seeing the big picture of the game. This is the rank you really need to start observing your timings, team play, and map knowledge. If you see your teammates pushing in, you've got to push up with them and be ready to capitalize on their contact. When you look at the map, you need to be able to read what's going on and where it makes sense for you to go. This is the rank where it's time to start genuinely critically thinking about every action that you do. Was that flash you threw a good flash? Could your smokes have been timed better? Do you feel like you're getting value in the round? These are questions you should be asking yourself in your games. Apply these critical thinking questions and I guarantee you'll climb fast. Soon after Diamond, you're starting to push into some of the highest ranks in the game. With Valorant's newest Ascendant rank, many players are going to feel a bit stuck on what they need to improve on to pass through it. Have no fear, although it's a new rank, the players at this rank are nothing new. If you've been playing against Immortals for some time now, you're probably perfectly equipped to climb these ranks. The biggest thing to remember in your matches though is to always accept responsibility for your losses. Honestly, this tip isn't exclusive to Ascendant, but this is the higher level thinking that you're going to need if you actually want to push into those higher ranks. Blaming others always has a negative outcome. By accepting responsibility, even when it maybe isn't your fault, you're able to actually look at what you put into the game. This seems like an unrealistic standard to many players because sometimes it quite literally is your teammate's fault, but that's not really the point. By accepting responsibility, you allow yourself to acknowledge which areas you can improve in, but by placing blame, all you're doing is deflecting responsibility, which at the end of the day won't help you improve. Finally though, if you followed all these tips and are now in Immortal, congratulations! You're officially in one of the highest ranks in the game. This is where your efficiency is going to be very important. Not only is it important that you're efficient though, it's also important that you're playing the game a lot. If you're looking for a tip to escape Immortal, then that means you're trying to push into Radiant. To reach the top 500 in the game, you need to recognize that the competition is stiff. Every player in this rank is putting in the work to grow and improve, and you can't be any different if you want to compete. You may have just wandered your way into Immortal by playing a few games a day, but this is where it's even more important that you're being consistent with your practice. Maybe start playing on a team to find like-minded players who are also trying to improve. Surround yourself with other ambitious people who are looking to accomplish similar goals. Most importantly though, make sure you're consistent. Don't just play a few games here and there. Make sure you're really grinding your aim training routine and playing 5 to 6 matches a day. That's going to be your best way to push into Radiant. That's all we got for our video today, but remember that if you're really looking to improve at Valorant, I highly recommend checking out SkillCapped.com. We get it, you're just a player trying to get better at the game. That's why you're watching this video in the first place. You're capable of hitting that rank you deserve, but there's no shame in asking for a little help. At SkillCapped.com, we spend hours going through viewer-submitted replays to let you know all the mistakes that you're making. We also couple this with our Smurf commentaries to show players that it is possible to carry themselves out of whatever rank they're stuck in. It might seem hopeless at times, but trust me when I say we can help you out. All you have to do is check out SkillCapped.com. Link in the description below. And there you have it, one game-changing tip for every rank. Hopefully some of these tips helped you guys out and end up making your climb easier. If you enjoyed this video and made it all the way to the end, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We here at SkillCapped want to give you a huge thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.